Assalamu alaikum. The cytoskeleton. Just as every organism has a skeleton that gives it shape, the cell also has a cytoskeleton. It is a complex network of proteins in the form of long filaments and tubules that extend throughout the cell. The cytoskeleton has several functions. They are: it gives the cell its shape, and the shape of the cell only differs with the distribution of cytoskeletal proteins. It is a pathway taken by everything that moves in the cell, including vesicles and organelles, such as lysosome, endocytosis, and exocytosis. The cytoskeleton is involved in the process of cell division, as it divides the cell into two pieces. It is also important in the connection between cells and the connection of the cell with the tissue. The cytoskeleton is also responsible for the contraction of muscle cells. And of course, all the organelles inside the cell are also attached to the cytoskeleton. The proteins that make up the cytoskeleton are divided into three main types: microtubules, microfilaments, also known as actin filaments, and intermediate filaments. So, one tubular protein and two fibrous proteins. There is also a special fibrous protein called myosin, which is found in the muscle cells because of its role in the contraction. In this video, we will discuss actin filaments and intermediate filaments. Actin filaments are very small filaments, and they are the smallest of these three proteins. So we call them microfilaments, as they cannot bear any load, while the intermediate filaments are thicker and more durable than actin, and they are the ones that give durability to the cell. The structure of actin filaments is of two fibers of actin proteins wrapped around each other and connected by other proteins. Actin filaments are located directly under the cell membrane, and they are not stiff, so their shape can change, or in other words, they can be moved. For example, in muscle cells, the protein myosin pulls the actin filaments toward each other, and this is what we call contraction. And there are other examples, as endocytosis, where the cell extends pseudopods and bends the membrane, and what it bends here is the actin filaments. Likewise, in any pseudopods, it is the same. Actin filaments will play a role also in cell division, and we will see that when we cover mitosis later. Since actin filaments are light and can be moved, and are located directly below the cell membrane, there must be other fibers below it at the same time to withstand pressure, and this is, in fact, the role of intermediate filaments. Intermediate filaments are larger than actin and smaller than microtubules. They are as the following. Actin filaments are 7 nanometers, intermediate filaments are from 8 to 10 nanometers, and microtubules are 25 nanometers in diameter. That is the reason why they are called intermediate filaments. But regardless of their size, they are the strongest filaments of the cytoskeleton, and they are the ones that give durability, as we mentioned. The structure of intermediate filaments is a group of proteins twisted like a rope, and this is what makes them more durable than actin filaments. But this also makes them less dynamic, meaning that their ability to move is very weak. The intermediate filaments hold all the organelles. They are more densely located on the organelle border, and of course on the cell membrane border below the actin filaments. Another property that makes intermediate filaments special from the other ones is diversity. Unlike other filaments that have one type of protein in all cells, intermediate filaments are so diverse that we can determine the type of the cell if we can determine the type of the intermediate filament proteins in it. We can divide them into 6 different types according to the similarity in structure. The first and second type is keratin, which is found on the surface of the skin, nails, and hair. The third type, which is the most common one, is vimentin, which is found in fibroblasts, skeletal muscles, and white blood cells. Another subtype of the third type is desmin, found in the muscle cells, especially striated muscle cells, and we will also see it in the muscle lessons. Also, another subtype of the third type is glial fibrillary acidic protein, which is found in neuroglia. Also, another subtype of the third type is peripherin, which is found in the peripheral nerve cells. The fourth type is cinnamine, also known as desmoslin. It provides resistance to pressure and it is present in the skeletal muscle cells. Another subtype of the fourth type is the neurofilament, which is found in the neurons. And the fifth type is lamin, which is present in all cells that contain a nucleus. It is the fiber that surrounds the nuclear lamina. The sixth type, which is also present in all cells, is nestin, which binds and organizes other intermediate filaments. This was the first part of the cytoskeleton lesson. Now let's do a quick review. The cytoskeleton is a network of proteins in the form of long filaments and tubules that extend throughout the cell, giving the cell its shape and all organelles stand on it. It's a pathway taken by everything that moves inside the cell. It is involved in cell division and it is important in cellular junctions. Cytoskeletal proteins are divided into three: microtubules, microfilaments, also called actin filaments, and intermediate filaments. Actin filaments are located just below the cell membrane. They are not stiff and they allow the membrane to flex for the vesicles to enter and exit, and for some other functions. While the intermediate filaments are stiff, non-flexible, they provide durability, and unlike the others, they are of many different types. This concludes our discussion about the subject. If you want to test your knowledge by solving the questions, continue the video. We said that actin filaments are the smallest, and we call them microfilaments. One of the intermediate filaments' special properties is their diversity. It is even possible to determine the type of the cell from them.